Hi, Mick McQuaid here to talk to you more about CSV, which is evil. CSV files are the bane of database specialists. They are second only to Excel spreadsheets in the frequency with which they are called evil. And for more on Excel, you can look at this website with some horror stories about things that happened to people who used Excel instead of a database. But we ingest CSV files and Excel spreadsheets into databases all the time, which is one reason why we think they're evil. And the main problem with CSV as a format is that it is not standard. There is a standard called RFC 4180, which you can search on the web, but not all programs respect it, and in particular, some of the most popular programs don't respect it. Excel is the most popular example of a program that breaks the standard, in part for purposes of vendor lock-in, which you can read more about at this page. What is CSV? It is a loosely specified format. Each row contains some values, maybe text or numbers, who knows, separated by commas. And depending on any aspect of it can lead to errors. For example, is there a header row or not? How does each row end? Does it end with a carriage return, a line feed, or a combination carriage return line feed? And you can see the article on Newline for more information about the difference between these three things. What if there are commas as part of the data in addition to the commas that separate the data? Some apps like Excel don't even require that the separator be a comma. What is the character encoding? Is it UTF-8, which is the most common, or some other encoding? For example, Excel, in order to be different, likes to use UTF-16. What if quote marks are used to allow commas in the data? Then how are quote marks in the data handled? And what happens if not every row has the same number of commas? What if there are line endings in the data? What if the number of rows or cells is too large for the representing program? And all programs have different maxima. So the maxima generally are around 1 million rows, but Google Sheets, for example, has 1 million cells as the maximum. So you could end in the middle of a row and get cut off. So why the heck would anyone use CSV given all these problems? Well, it's human readable. It's very easy to explain if you ignore all those edge cases I mentioned in the previous frame. And it's possibly durable. There will always be programs that can more or less read it. And there are a plethora of tools around it. For instance, I use a tool called CSV Kit, which is documented at this URL. What about SQLite? SQLite can both import and export comma-separated values. And there are an assortment of options to satisfy the source or target program. And the options are varied under various SQLite dot commands. So it can be actually kind of difficult to use. So importing CSV into SQLite can be done using the dot import command. SQLite assumes that the first row contains column names unless you give it the -- skip n option, in which case it skips n rows before finding the column names. SQLite assumes that the file conforms to RFC 4180 except in certain cases. And the certain cases include certain uses of the SQLite.mode command, or if the option -- ASCII is given when you invoke SQLite at first. And there are a number of options to be found at .help import. And you have to examine the tables after you import them, and if they look strange, then you dive into .help import. If you want to export CSV from SQLite, you can find all the available modes of output by saying .mode -- list. And if you issue the .mode CSV SQLite command, the following query results will be in CSV format, and those query results can be sent to a file by then issuing the SQLite command .output with possible options and the file name of the file you want to be the CSV file. And you can see the page at .help output for the options, but see .help mode for more relevant options such as -- quote, which enables or disables quoting of text in different modes, including CSV. So you can say .mode -- quote CSV CSV to get CSV style quoting. You can also change the row and column separators via .mode. And basically you should just see the instructor if you run into trouble, because there are vastly many edge cases and corner cases. Corner cases are the confluence of two or more edge cases. Okay, so that's all I want to say for now about CSV. It's very individual, so show me your CSV files and I can help you. Thanks for watching.